Okay, besties, we had to do this episode because if we had a dollar for every time we almost didn't do something because we were afraid of looking cringy, we'd have enough money to fund our nervous system healing for the next decade.
I'd be a billionaire. I fear I would. I don't fear actually. I welcome it. I
I'd
would.
be a I'd be a trillionaire, okay?
Yeah,
Everybody would know my name.
absolutely. And you know what? I think that this topic is going to be so important because I have been actually all day today. It's so funny, Ashley, you brought this up, that we should talk about this, and I was like immediately yes, because all day today I was diving deep with one of my friends who I'm on a trip with right now, and I was like, yes, this is actually so relevant to our generation and everyone in their 20s. And I'm so happy that we get to dive into this right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think this one is it heals surface level, but it also heals like that inner child who just wanted to be liked, or like the people pleaser side of us, who said yes when they meant no. And we've talked about attachment styles. I feel like this is a good kind of segue
Segue, yeah.
into something that relates to it because all of it comes from our childhood. But
Mhm.
it's like anything, like confidence, like anything, it's a skill that can be practiced. And I said to you too, I've spoken to so many people in the last week. I just did like a photo shoot in a coffee shop in front of other
Yes.
people. And those are things that I feel like the old me would have been like, no,
Hmm. Hmm.
no. And so yeah, I think it's awesome that we've both been doing rejection therapy in real life lately. And I think this is something that we're both really passionate about now. And it's something that we get to continue to practice, right? Like nobody's
Yes.
perfect, all right? Nobody's
What we're doing
perfect.
right now is reject. This is rejection therapy right now because we're putting ourselves out there. And also, I want to correct one thing you said. I want to reframe that thought. You said people pleasers. I like to say recovering people pleasers because I feel
Period.
like when you put it like that, we ain't people pleasers. We are recovering from being those people, and we're not those people anymore.
I was watching the Kevin Lang show with one of my friends recently. And one of the guys, Aaron, I forget his last name. If you ever need like a show to watch in your free time, and you like it's comedy and it's fun to watch, but you
Mhm.
also learn things in it, right? Because they have like a variety of different people come on from different parts of the world. And
Yeah.
uh yeah, if you need a show to watch, watch Kevin Lang. Anyways, Aaron every 5 seconds in the episode was going, I've healed. I'm healed.
Feels.
And
Yeah.
that just reminded me of that. So
Yes.
sorry.
You always have to be affirming, constantly affirming. And I saw this one quote that you have here, and I just want to quickly mention it because, and the reason rejection therapy is so good is because you obviously build that confidence for yourself, but
Yeah.
also, who gives a fuck what anyone else thinks of you? Okay, you might not be someone's cup of tea, but you are someone's glass of champagne. I took that right from Rima. Rima said that to me a few weeks ago, and I love that, and I'm just gonna
Did
continue
she
using it.
actually?
She said that out of the blue, and she's like, you know what, Mano, you might not be their cup of tea, but you are someone's glass of champagne. And
Dude,
I thought,
that's actually crazy because I just said the tequila thing to you.
yeah, no, and that's why when you had it written there, I was like, oh my God, that's actually
What?
crazy. Um,
Mm.
so and I love that, and I love that, and I think comparison is the thief of joy. And when you can stop comparing yourself to other and stop thinking about others as better than you, and start seeing your own journey as your own journey, right? You versus you, you start to unlock so many new opportunities in your life. And
Hmm.
so let's dive in.
Okay, let's start off with like I like to call it the approval addiction epidemic. Okay. What if when
Mm.
I say the approval addiction epidemic, what do you think of? What does that mean to you?
My anxious attachment style immediately says seeking validation. It
Period.
is seeking validation from other people. It is wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, and wanting to be loved by others, and putting yourself on the back burner, right? Like instead of thinking about things in terms of like, oh, is this going to make me happy? You think of
Hmm.
things in terms of, is this going to make this person proud of me? Is this going to make this person like me? That's kind of what comes to mind for me. But what about? I want to hear your perspective on this.
No, I think the same thing, and I think it's like truly just wanting to be seen, right? And only doing things that may seem good to other people versus doing what is right for you.
Hmm. Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. And I think that like it's really interesting because today I was having this exact same um conversation, especially about Instagram, right? Like when we talk about comparing ourselves to others, um, we one of the biggest, I guess, examples of that is on Instagram.
Yeah,
Um, because
100%.
through Instagram, all you're seeing is a highlight reel of people's lives, right? Like everything you see on Instagram is very curated to the
Mm,
best parts of someone's life. And so when you look at that on a daily basis, you start to reflect your own life in that and say, why is my life not like that? Why am I not good
yeah,
enough? And you don't know that people are going through the worst days of their life, but they're still posting like the best, right? Even I've done that sometimes where I'm like not having a tough day, but I still post something that like looks
yeah,
amazing, right? And it
yeah.
portrays this sense of um, you know, success that, even the moment you yourself are just not in that space. And so when,
We all have the ability to be selective with it, right? It's
yes,
not like some people are raw and real on it, but some people filter out the bad parts, right?
yeah, because it's vulnerability, right? When you
Hmm.
post that stuff, you're being vulnerable, and people don't like to be vulnerable online. And I mean, I can't blame them because obviously, right? There a lot of people on the internet are cruel, and they'll judge you
Yeah,
and whatever. And that's why, again, rejection therapy. Don't care what other people think. Just be your authentic self, and it's easier said than done. Like all these
yeah,
things I'm saying is easier said than done, but it takes practice, and
yeah.
that's the differentiation.
100%. And like you said, some people are cruel, but at the end of the day, you can't worry about that. And if somebody takes your vulnerability and faces it with judgment, like that's an internal problem for them, not you.
Did you? So I have a question then. I know we've talked about this in the past a lot, and I know this episode is primarily around like rejection therapy. But I guess since we're already talking about this a little bit, what do you think of dopamine detoxing? And how
We've
have you?
been talking about this for so long and we haven't done it.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to hit my head on a wall, but
No.
um
I do that too sometimes.
I think I think okay, I think it's very healthy. I've gone through phases. I actually don't think you've
Okay,
known.
wait. What is dopamine detox? Let's just like talk about what is dopamine detoxing.
Dopamine detoxing would be like taking whether you kind of like choose a timeline for yourself and you detox yourself from the fast, short, fake dopamine hits, right? So that would be like taking a break from social media, um, taking a break from, I guess you could say like drinking and stuff like that. That's also a form of that, or like going out, right? Because, well, I think going out and seeing your friends is healthy and whatever,
Hmm.
but um, something along those lines, right? And you and I have talked about doing like a 24 hours where we remove ourselves completely. I think we
Hmm.
do need to do that and we need to like journal and reflect and do that. I think we need to like structure it so we don't fuck ourselves over with work and life and all of that.
Well, that's my question because I know that dopamine detoxing is really good and like it helps you get rid of that negative energy, but also as someone and as people who are chronically online and our businesses are chronically online, how
Mhm.
do you do a detox successfully when your main stream of revenue comes from what you do online?
Now are you putting me on the spot?
I'm sorry, I'm up with the questions. I'm like, you know what? Because I feel like like if I was watching this right now, I'd have the same. I'd be like, what if I'm a creator, I'm an entrepreneur. Like most of my business comes from the online stratosphere, channels and whatever. And like I'm like, if I wanted to do this, I'm trying to think of a way. Like, how
Well,
would
okay.
someone go about that?
So something that my dad says to his goalies all the time is the more powerful your downtime, the more powerful your uptime. So I think if you were to take 24 hours just to take a break, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? Like people have other things going on. The world keeps spinning. People like you know what I mean? I think as long as you plan it out and you're not just doing it on a limb, I think that's the best way to go about it, right? So
Yeah.
plan it like a week in advance. If you need to let people know that you won't be on your phone on a Sunday, let people know.
Mhm.
And I think when doing it, like fully indulge in it, right? Like don't half-ass it. Okay, that's poor language. Go full in. Go
Go
all
for it.
in. Go all in on it. If you're gonna be detoxing, like mute all your apps for the day. If you need to leave your text messages on, okay, cool, right? Like there's you never know when there's an emergency if you don't live close to family, etc. But
Yeah.
go like all in on it. And I think as long as you plan properly, then you'll be okay because it's going to look different for everyone. If it means like a detox from Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all that stuff, that's pretty easy to go about, right? But you also have to hold yourself super accountable when doing stuff like that.
Yes, well, 100%. I think everything boils down to accountability at the end of the day. Like, if you're not accountable to yourself, who are you going to be accountable to? Right?
Well, and
Because you are your biggest critic.
yeah, and I think we can only show up for other people as much as we show up for ourselves. Even if we convince ourselves otherwise that we're showing up for other people more, I think in the same breath, if you're not showing up for yourself, you're not showing up for other people as much as you could be.
Mhm.
Anyways,
And you know what? Who would be such a good, I've just realized this now. Wangle would be such a good guest to have on for this topic because his entire brand is about rejection, about him just putting himself out there and getting rejected in
100%.
public. And he's just been worked that muscle so well and so hard that now it's second nature and he doesn't even feel
It's
like rejection.
it's funny because I've spent so much time with him and like he usually he usually is the one where if like we get rejected or the energy's off, he's like brush it off the shoulder, da da da. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, every once in a while. Okay, wait, before I move on to that. When he's like that, I'm the one who, if there's like a whiff of bad energy or a little bit of reject, I'm the one who's like, okay, thanks for being an asshole, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it's not that big of a deal. But every once in a while, the roles reverse. And he'll be like, and usually it's just like one night where he's like a little bit off because we're all human, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he'll be getting annoyed. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, move on to the next one, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So it's like,
That's power though.
but
It's
that's,
power to be able to realize that.
and it goes back to it's a skill that we have to build, right? Like, not every day is perfect. Not every person is perfect. When you're dealing with rejection, there's going to be some easier days, there's going to be some harder days. Like, some people are a lot tougher than other people, right? Or a lot, I don't know, just meaner,
Yeah.
meaner. That
Thicker
could be,
skin.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
I
well then,
think I think a lot of it all boils down to like not caring about the image, right? Because I don't think
yeah.
people are inherently scared of failure. I think they're scared of looking like a failure, right? And that's not the same
Yeah.
thing because when you fail, it does like if you were if you and I were walking down the street and you fucking tripped and fell, would that define you as a failure? Would that define like you just failed at walking, okay? But would that define you as a
I,
failure, right?
you know what? I think of it the 3F method, okay? Three F's,
Mhm.
right? Fail, fast, forward. That's it.
No,
Just fail
yeah,
as
no,
fast as you can, fail forward. So
that's
even if you do fall and trip and eat shit, but you're going forward, I'm like, hey, that's still a win. I'm going, I'm going closer to where I want to go.
I'm
Right?
grounding
So
myself
I'm
actually.
grounding myself
No, yeah,
literally right onto concrete.
Pete says that all the time. Fail forward fast.
And it's so true, right? Like the faster
Hmm.
you fail, the faster you learn, which means the faster you progress in your life.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think the like best thing about rejection therapy, or like not the best thing, but the truth about it is that it's not about becoming fearless, right? Like there's always going to be like pieces of doubt or like feelings of fear. Like it happens, right? We're human beings, okay?
Yes.
But I think where the power comes into it is choosing to do the thing anyways and knowing that no matter the outcome, whether it be positive or negative, like the world's not ending. You're not going 6 feet under unless like you're insane and you're doing something crazy. That's a different story. Um, but yeah, I think the real power comes in when choosing to do it, even if you feel uncomfortable and knowing that no
Hmm.
matter what happens, at least you're doing something and you're learning from
So how can somebody
it.
become stronger and work this, this muscle on a daily basis? What are some ideas or tips that you have?
I think one thing, I'm gonna reverse the question on, I'm gonna Uno reverse it onto you as well.
Reverse.
But I think one thing that I catch myself doing sometimes is overthinking things before I do it. And if I can just catch myself and say, shut the fuck up, just do it, right? Like it's like with anything, if you're thinking about like starting a business, starting a podcast, starting like doing an event or whatever, you got to just make the decision that you're gonna do it and stop asking those million questions beforehand that slow you down from getting there. Because when you make the decision to do it, you're gonna figure out the rest of the stuff along the way, right? And if that's like,
Yes.
say it's just uh I don't know, say it's posting a photo on Instagram or like telling someone no or like asking a question at a restaurant, like it's not as bad as you think, right? Like I think we all go through this and we all have those feelings sometimes. And I was talking to someone about this the other day, but like I've realized in the past year, none of my experiences are inherently original, right? Like there's always someone out there who's going to relate to what you're doing. So if
Mhm.
you're talking about something raw and real and it's your first time doing that, or if you're starting a new business, whatever, like there's always going to be people you can learn from and things you can learn from. So just like just do it, right? If if it's
Mhm.
taking photos on the side of the road, right, in front of strangers, okay, yeah, there might be one or two people who get pissed off, but like whatever. Like that is coming from them internally, right?
And that's literally what today, I will give you today, literally rejection therapy we did. We were taking photos in public with people walking all around us, looking at us, commenting, whatever. We took a fit check where we positioned the phone and literally people were walking there and back, like whatever. That's rejection therapy. Also, by the way, any person who's listening who is a content creator, you are
Mm-hmm.
automatically doing rejection therapy by posting because first off, I know in your brain as a content creator, the first thing you think of is, oh my God, does it have enough views? Does it have enough likes? Does it have enough
Oh my God,
comments?
I've
Right? Like,
stopped
do
caring
people,
about that.
but see, like it's a thing though, when you first start, especially, like you're like, oh my God, do people like my videos? Do they like my things? Do they blah blah blah, whatever. And that's a form of rejection therapy because when a video does bad, it's almost as if you're failing, but you're not. You're building progress. And even the
Mhm.
smallest stepping stones build that muscle, right? Even if you go to the gym, I love the gym. I am at the gym every day. I'm always working out. And so it's like building
Do
a
you
muscle, right?
even lift, bro?
Do you even lift,
I'm
bro? And
kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean lifting with that rejection therapy in mind, right? Like the more reps you do, the stronger it gets, as we were talking about with Wayne
Hmm.
Gold, right?
Hmm.
Even with him, even he has some bad days sometimes, but he still has built that muscle
Not
over
say, and
time.
that wasn't me saying like there's bad, but like even for the most, I'd
Yes.
say numb to rejection person, they have days where the switch is flipped.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and,
So,
and even if you wanted to try it out, like if you want to become more fortified and like become that person who doesn't fear rejection, the most balding thing you can do is go into a store and ask for a discount. Straight
yeah,
up, go in and be like, get a donut, go to a coffee shop or something, and be like,
yeah.
can I get a discount on this?
Or like,
Just
I
like,
like, it's not something I've been doing recently is like, not to be like that annoying person either, but when I'm at a store or something, like I will start conversation even if I'm just talking about like why I'm buying what I'm buying. And
mhm,
I was buying grad shoes last week and she was like, do you want a bag? I was like, no, it's okay. And I had just spoken to her about grad, da 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 da. And she goes, you know what? I'm gonna give you a bag anyways for your grad. And I was like, okay, period, thank you.
period.
Right. But like even those things, like they might not seem like it, but if you can like start conversation and just,
Mhm.
it it adds so much. Okay, Uno reverse, your turn. Give us a tip or trick on how people can work on it.
See, I think the biggest one would, I mean, honestly, I think the one differentiator that has made me care less about what people think and also like the rejection therapy is posting content. Like that
Hmm.
is the one thing that has helped me get over what people think because as time has gone on and the more content I've posted, I realized that there's always, no matter what you do, there's people are never going to There's never going to be everyone who loves you, right? Never, there's not
Mhm.
going to be, but at the end of the day, you will find your people as long as you stay consistent and you just work that muscle, right? And so I also am a huge advocate of journaling. And
Mhm.
I think that whenever you go through something where your feelings are hurt or where you suspect your feelings could get hurt, journal about it, right? Like, say, for example, and I always say this, gratitude is the strongest emotion. And that's why every
Mhm.
morning and every night I do gratitude journaling because it's so important to bring up the positives in your life so then you can outweigh the negatives and it just rewires your brain that way. And so it's perfect. And I think that for this, say, for example, you do some rejection therapy, like you take a photo on the side of the road, right, with people walking by, right? If you got dirty looks, if someone looked you up and down, gave you a wrong look, like, and it affected you, write down why you felt that way, like
Yeah.
why do you feel like you reacted that way, and that way you start
Yeah.
to understand yourself better, but you also start to understand your triggers and why they're happening, and then you get to work on those things.
I want to tie confidence into rejection therapy because sometimes all it takes is convincing yourself that you're confident enough to do something in order to do it. And a lot of that comes from like the things that you tell yourself. And so I'll give you an example. Because once you get confidence, yes, is a skill that you can train and build, but as you build your confidence, there's um what's the word? Oh my God. There's, you gain
Propensity.
proof. No, you gain proof along the way that you are capable because you start with the confidence up here in your mental.
Hmm.
Sorry to everyone listening. I'm pointing at my forehead, not my forehead. Okay, pointing at my head. It starts up here. So it starts mental, but then as you do things to build confidence, you start to like collect proof that you are capable of these things, right? And so last Friday, I had a friend ask me to do interviews at a party. It was like an event thing. And I'm usually the one behind the camera, right? I'd say I'm pretty comfortable in front of a camera. Sometimes like little me who had to do school presentations and used to
Hmm.
get all red and her heart would race and she would forget the presentation after the fact because she was in like fight or flight when it happened. Sometimes that like tries to sneak in
Yeah.
and I went into that like I didn't tell anyone that I hadn't done the interviews before. I just kind of went in like
Hmm.
confident, whatever, asked like one or two questions. Okay, this is what you guys want me to do. They made me do the intro at the beginning. He was like, okay, you're good to go. Da, da, da.
Hmm.
And I was walking around with one guy who was like doing the videography for it. And after like half an hour, I went, how are we doing? Like, whatever. And he goes, good. And he was like, this is my first time recording. And I was like, this is my first time doing interviews. And he was like, really? I was like, really? Like, what?
Hmm.
And it was because I had told myself that I like mentally told myself I was confident enough. I showed up confident enough. And now that like I've done that once, right? And I built that confidence up once. I have the proof that I'm capable of doing
Hmm.
it. And if you were to ask me to go and interview people in Yonge and Dundas Square or something, sorry, Sankofa Square, is that what it's called now?
So I don't even know.
I think so. Um, if you were to like ask me to do that, because I've done that now once before through rejection therapy and just like telling myself to do it, I would be able to do it. Like no questions
Well,
asked, right?
and you know what? There's even a study that proves exactly that, right? Like there was a study that I don't know by who, but I remember I heard about it on another podcast where someone literally said like they did a study with two groups of people. One group of people who thought they were confident in something, like they were like, "Oh, I'm confident doing it," even though they had no experience, and a group of people who already knew what the thing was, right? The people who were more confident ended up doing better than the people who knew it, who knew the task they were given, and
And
they did
this,
better because they were more
oh,
confident and they were feeding themselves delusions, saying that they were better. So,
well,
it's so crazy to think that was real.
I just like proofread my dad's new book that's coming out, and I think everyone should have a copy of this book. I was reading it and I was like, oh my God, like
Plug it.
I want to send it to all of my friends. I want to send it to strangers that I've seen on the side of the road, people that I've met at network. I think everyone should read it. And it's called
What is?
It's called Superhuman Visualization. It's not out yet,
Mm.
but I was proofreading it. And
Yeah,
basically, what he's done is collected a bunch of real life stories of people using visualization. And do you know the story about Michael Phelps when he swam blind?
I did not. I do not know.
No? Okay, so Michael Phelps swam blind and won gold. Okay. What he like the reason why he was able to do that is because he visualizes like a motherfucker. Okay. He has run through the swim in his head. He swims. One of the quotes he said was he swam in his mind every night. So he would run through like best case scenarios, like okay scenarios, worst case scenarios. So he had visualized himself swimming blind already in the past. And he knew, even though he couldn't see where he was, because he had pictured that in his head already, and it's never happened to him before physically, he knew exactly where he was. And he won gold. He was the first person to touch that wall. And so it's not just him. There's stories about like the Spanx owner, Oprah
Yes, Sarah
Winfrey,
Blakely.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, Will Smith, all of them, Kobe Bryant, all of them use visualization. And so it like they all of it ties in together, right? And so if you can, I think a huge part of rejection therapy would be to say, like, see yourself doing it before you do it and see yourself doing it
Yeah.
successfully, right? So, okay.
Hey, visualization is a huge portion, and that's why they say vision boards. Vision boards, they say constantly put that stuff in your mind, and also like even the music you listen to, right, programs your mind.
Uh-huh.
And so like it's good to listen to like obviously we all have bangers that we like that are like obviously more negative, but still, it's good to have that awareness to be like, okay, what am I putting in? What am I consuming?
Always listening to the bad bitch music.
Yes, always listen to the bad bitch music. Like, hello, if my playlist has anything negative, I'm like skip. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, we need the bad bitch energy only here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to something that we've talked about a little bit, but
Yeah.
not everyone's opinion deserves a front row seat. Okay.
Ask yourself this: do they pay your bills?
Do they
No,
pay your bills? No, but my
no.
cat sleeps in my bed like she does.
As she
Um,
should. Happy birthday to Level. So it's her birthday today.
yes, that's my baby girl. Yeah, she's 3 years old. Um,
By the way, she does not actually have a daughter. It is her cat.
yes, that's my baby girl. Okay, this is something that I think we, you and I especially, have experienced personally in just growing and trying to change things internally. And something that I've realized about myself, even now, sometimes when I'm like, I catch myself in like a moment of judgment, it's always people's judgments are mirrors of their own fears or their own insecurities. And so when you
Yes.
catch yourself worrying about what someone else might think in a situation, what you're doing is you're judging yourself and you're assuming that other people are going to judge you for that. And most of the time, people don't give a fuck because they're too worried about what's going on in their head,
Mhm.
right? But that also means that if someone does choose to pass judgment onto you, that's an internal problem for them. And it has nothing to do with what you're doing or what you're saying. Unless you're saying something completely offensive, then don't do that. Don't do
Well,
that.
I mean, but that is so true though. Like when there is any negative emotions, right, like that are pushed on you, um, for any of these reasons, right, like in terms of like someone's opinions, whatever, it always boils down to their own internal judgment on themselves.
I'm gonna grab Brianna Wiest's book really quickly that I was reading the other day because there's a chapter that she wrote and it's one sentence, and I think it applies to this so perfectly. Give me like
Okay,
10
yeah.
seconds.
Yes,
Like,
go.
sing your elevator music, please.
Sing your elevator music. Okay, no, I'm just gonna keep on talking while she's getting this book. But again, right, I always think of this in the sense where people's opinions do not pay your bills, right? For the most part, it's whatever you. Oh wow, she's back. That was fast. Um,
Was he talking shit about me?
no, I was saying I was just blabbing on about what I was
Leave a
talking about
comment
before.
down below if he was talking shit about me. No, I'm
Just talking
kidding. I'm
shit.
kidding. I'm
You were
kidding.
fast. I was like, damn, she's speedy.
Okay. So this is page 97 of The Life That's Waiting, her newest book. And this chapter, she literally, okay, it's two sentences. I lied, not one. Okay. So all of the chapters in this book are, I'll read some of them to you so you know, so you just understand why it's like this. So the first one is read this when you can't just let yourself be happy. Second one is read this when your heart is breaking and it feels like it will never heal. Third one is read this when you don't understand why people are so unkind. So it's essentially like when you're dealing with something, you're experiencing something, go in and read that specific chapter. Okay, even though I've been reading them at my own pace. Um, okay, let me get back to that chapter. Okay, so page 97. Read this when you care too much about what other people think. This is all that she's got in the chapter. Are you ready? The more you like something, the less you will need other people to. The less you need other people to, the more they will.
Yep. And it's so true.
It is
It's so true.
so true. It is
When you're
so
at
true.
when you're at a place of lack, the universe is going to give you lack,
Hmm.
right? When you're at a place of abundance and when you believe in yourself and when you have that internal like the universe, it's so funny because the universe works so reciprocally in the sense where like if you are abundant, it will give you
Hmm.
abundance. If you are in lack, it will give you lack. It won't give you what you need. It will give you what you are aligned with. Um, and so if you're aligned in love and light, the universe is going to give you more of that love and light.
Yeah. It just, I think, like, I was reading that book the other day, and I think it's so true. I think the more you care about what other people think, the less that they actually care, and that, like, you're just infatuated with that, like, insecurity. But the more that you're pouring into yourself, the more that people see it. And we talked about this on the last episode when I was talking about like the interaction with my friend where she was like, "Oh my God, like just people were like just talking to me today." And she
Mhm.
started like her own healing journey. Um,
Yes. Which
okay,
good for her, by the way. It's hard to come to terms that you need to even knowing you need to heal is a
exactly.
win. Um,
Okay,
and
wait, wait.
yeah,
I'm gonna cut you off because I think this is gonna be so cool. And I think this relates to rejection therapy, but also if you're like going through a breakup or like ending things with a situationship or whatever, I think this is the perfect three questions to ask as well. So use this whenever you're doing like
mhm,
rejection therapy, or if you genuinely just need to ask these self or ask yourself these questions, and it all falls under the same umbrella. Okay,
mhm.
the three question filter. Ready? Before caring what someone thinks, ask, do I want their life? Okay. Do they know me deeply? Do they know who you like truly really are on the inside? Like, are you seen? Okay. Are they rooted in love or fear? And most of the time, when people are judging, it is rooted in fear, right? Like, I'll be walking with Wangle, and recently we're promoting the dating show. And sometimes people like don't even read the sign, and these fucking idiot men will walk by and be like, huh, that's desperate.
Oh
Okay.
my
I'm
God.
like, did you even read the sign? Like, are you okay? Like,
Yeah,
sorry, you can't get a girl. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Anyways, but it like truly when people are judging, it usually is rooted in fear, insecurity, mirroring those things. So,
I would also say in terms of advice, if someone's trying to give you advice, people love to give advice. Okay, people who don't know what they're talking about love to give advice. Everyone loves to give advice. I would say the only people you take advice from are the people that are in the situation that you want to be in. If you're taking advice monetarily from
as
like
we're
the
on a
money
podcast giving advice.
as we're no, I mean literally, but I mean we're speaking from a place of from our 20s, from our
Yeah,
experience.
you guys get to choose if you take it or not.
You get to choose, but what I will say is from my own experience, I only take advice and I only deeply think about advice given from people who are in a position that I want to be in, whether that's financially, whether that's mentally, whether that's
Yeah.
spiritually. I go to those people as authority figures who I know I can trust because I want what they have or what they've accomplished.
And that's why it's important to have mentors too, right?
And you can have multiple. You don't have to have one. You can have they can even be digital. They can be parasocial relationships where it's like literally like
Mhm.
online or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Influencers,
Yeah.
you know. And again, I I I love my queen Beyonce. And so I'm gonna give you guys a little more fun of a, I guess, analogy, but protect your energy like it is Beyonce set list before her world tour. Okay, and you know how that is locked down, right? Not everyone gets access to it. Not everyone should get access, but only the people who are foundational to that get a say, right? And you
Hmm.
should treat that like your life. Your life.
Hmm.
You should have Beyonce's tour guide, manager, whatever it is, whatever her team is. Keep your life locked down because only you can change your life and no one else can have a say if they are not in the position to.
Exactly. And I think every time I'm gonna go back to what we were talking about before, like every time you get a no, I think I use this analogy with my friends in relationships too. Every time like you go through a breakup or whatever, you're one step closer to the person that you're meant to be with. Every time you get a no, you're one step closer to getting a
Yep.
yes. And
Hmm.
is it in Think and Grow Rich where forget I forget what happened, but he talks about getting like rejected like 800 times until like the like 900th time when he finally gets a yes, and his life skyrocketed after that.
Yeah.
So I forgot, I need to go back and read that
It
book.
only
It's
takes
been
one yes. Only takes
exactly,
one yes,
exactly.
right? One win.
So let's
And
let's do let's do a little emotional reflection. I feel like we've covered a lot of
mhm,
bases here.
yes,
Um,
yes, I do agree.
the version of you who was scared of being judged got you here. But the version of you who's going to build the life you want, she's going to need to get rejected a few times. Okay. She's going to need to not give a single fuck. Do you think like people like the Kardashians, or that's such a fucking basic fucking example, Ashley. Sorry, guys.
Hey, use it.
But
Everyone knows them, so it's
let's
easy.
let like Kim, for example, that girl just graduated law school, right? Like, you know how many people probably like said to her like you're never gonna do it, or like you're
Hmm.
not capable of doing that, like your life is whatever. um or just even there's so many people all the time who are going to be throwing doubt your way because they're insecure about their own stuff, and you're not here to, I guess, serve them. You're here
No,
to be in your own space, your own power. And I think a fun way to look at it is like we only have one life to experience things. Why spend it scared of what other people are thinking?
exactly. Again, you are not here to be palatable, okay? If you think about it, caviar, a lot of people hate caviar, but it's one of the most expensive delicacies in the world, okay? Only a select few get to eat it because it is fucking expensive for a
That's
reason,
so
and you're the
weird
same.
that you bring that up.
Why? Wait, why? Divine
No,
timing?
no, what is happening?
Divine
Okay.
timing? What happened? Explain. Explain.
No,
Now
no,
now
no.
I
We'll
know.
we'll, we'll have our caviar conversation
Our
after the
caviar
fact.
conversation. But no, it's true though. I mean, not everyone likes caviar. Caviar is a delicacy. It's very like it's only a select few people get to experience caviar. That's how you should be. Act like
Mhm.
caviar. Okay, caviar is a bad bitch.
Period.
Be caviar.
Period. Be
Be
caviar. That's it for today, babe. If you're feeling a lot right now, that's not a setback. That is self awareness, and we are so proud of you.
We're building this space for you, so if this episode resonated, send it to the group chat, you know the one, or your therapist, or someone who just needs to feel seen today.
Make sure you're subscribed and follow us at Divine But Done for weekly reminders that healing is not linear. Your glow up is definitely spiritual, and you, my love, are not alone in this chaos.
You're not too much, you're not behind, you are becoming exactly as you should. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll be right here, same time next week, to spill the tea and hold space.
Stay divine.
But done.